Okay, let's see, waiting for the music to start. Oh, we have so many technical difficulties today on this Thursday morning. Where's that music? Where is it? Come on, play it. Okay, well, I'm not going to have my intro music today. I guess if it kicks in by itself, it will. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is vonKleist. These are the WTF reports. And I'm sorry I had a replay yesterday, and it might happen again tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. I'm having some technical issues on this end. I'm in the process of trying to become digital in an analog world, if you can understand what that means. Was it about 20 years ago, my daughter brought me a MacBook, and I'd been using Windows up to that point, but I had never used a Mac. So anyway, she taught me how to use it, and I really liked it. So I've been using MacBook Pros for the past 20 years. And now I'm in the process of trying to switch over to Windows because I'm also trying to advance this broadcast, the WTF reports, into a on-video podcast. So as you regular listeners know, I come with all the audio receipts. But if I can get onto video and get onto Rumble and BitChute, with video, you'll be able to see the actual video clips. You'll see the actual documents. You'll see the actual articles. You'll see the documents. So that's what I'm in the process of doing. And in doing so, all day yesterday, I tell you, I had to undo cables and connecting, cables, spaghetti. And I had to get a couple of monitors online, and I'll tell you, trying to learn these new programs and everything, as they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and that's sort of where I'm coming from. So be patient with me. Like I said, we may have a couple of replays as I'm making the changeover. And I want to thank some of the folks out there who have helped out by going to our website, TheWTFReports.com. And we got a GoFundMe there, so anything that you can contribute, because we're doing this on our own here. We don't have any major backers like they have at TPUSA. So anyway, this music isn't going to kick in, is it? None of my buttons seem to be working here. So I guess I rewired this the wrong way. Anyway, that said, good morning or good afternoon, good evening. I think I already said that. Flying by the seat of my pants today. There's so much stuff to talk about. I've got a bunch of audio clips that I want to get to. But right off the bat, I want to bring to your attention that ever since the October 7th attacks into, Israel, they call it the Israel-Palestine war. It's not a war. It just isn't. So anybody wants to call it a war, no, it isn't. It's a genocide, it's a slaughter, it's a massacre, it's whatever it is, but it's not a war. I mean, when you got 83% of the casualties are women and children, no, that's not a war. So, but anyway, ever since that happened, a lot of people have been really paying attention to this state they call Israel. And yes, it's a state. And I'll get into some definitions in a couple of minutes here. But you may recall Ted Cruz misquoted the Bible when he was debating with Tucker Carlson. And he says, I'm going to stand with Israel because God said that he would bless those who bless Israel, and he will curse those who curse Israel. Well, I'm sorry, Ted, that's not what it says. Okay, in Genesis 12, chapter 3, as a matter of fact, I'll go right to the beginning of chapter 12, and I read from the King James Version. It says, "Now the Lord had said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country." That's a word, country. We'll get back to that. "And from thy kindred and from thy father's house unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation." Ooh, nation versus country. We're going to talk about that. "And I will make thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing." Now, here's the quote that Ted Cruz got wrong. "And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee. And in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed." So God was talking to Abraham. He says, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to bless thee. He wasn't saying, I will bless Israel. Israel didn't come up. The word or the name Israel didn't come up until Genesis chapter 32. And that's when Jacob was wrestling until daybreak and, against God. And at the end, God said to him, to Jacob, and he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. So God told Jacob his name was Israel. That's the first time that comes up. So the point is that Israel is a guy, is Jacob, okay? And his sons make up the tribes of Israel. Now, I want to go back to this thing about nation versus country. Now, this is kind of important. I'm not a Bible scholar. I'm not a Bible beater. I'm not here to proselytize or bring anybody, around to come to Jesus. No, I'm not here to do that. But since the October 7th thing, the whole origin about the Israelis and being God's chosen people and all that, a lot of people are saying, now, wait a second. Wait a minute. What is it? This doesn't seem to make sense. Well, that's because the powers that be are twisting and manipulating words. Now, I want to go back to this Genesis chapter 12. And again, it says, get thee out of thy country. And then he goes on to say that I will make of thee a great nation. Those two different words. So let's go to the dictionary and we will look up the word nation. Now, here, the dictionary I got on my computer comes up, and the first thing it says a country considered as a body of people united by common descent, history, culture, or language inhabiting a particular area or territory. However, the second definition can't always go by the first. The second definition is a body of people having a common descent, history, culture, or language, but without a separate or politically independent territory. And I've said this numerous times. You've got people up in Boston who are Red Sox fans, and they scream, Red Sox Nation. Now, that doesn't mean that there is a country or an area of land or a territory called Red Sox. It's a group of people, as this definition says, a body of people having a common descent, history, culture, or language, but without a separate or politically independent territory. So, the nation of Israel is a group of people who hold a same belief. And that's why when God said to Jacob, your name is Israel, and that is the nation of Israel, the tribes of Jacob. That those who keep the covenant with God are the nation of Israel. It is not a state. Now, that whole concept was thunk up by the Rothschilds. Now, the Rothschilds, we already know, anybody who's done any of their research, they're not exactly a godly people. No. And the sad thing is, the sad fact of the matter is that anybody who points this out or anybody who challenges these word salads that are being pumped into the minds of the American people, of course, you're being attacked. Now, I wanted to bring this, again to the front of the front burner here, because there's so much confusion out there. And ever since people have started to notice, they're starting to pay attention to all of these things and say, wait a second, these people who claim to be Jews, they aren't. Be people who claim to be God's chosen people, they aren't. They're imposters. They have twisted the words. Now, like I said, ever since this whole thing with October 7th, people have been really doing a lot of research, a lot of noticing, and they've gone back and they found out, there's a whole group of Ashkenazis and Khazarians from Eastern Europe who call themselves Jews. They had nothing whatsoever to do with the indigenous people of the Middle East. As a matter of fact, I have a couple of clips here, one of which is, let me see, where did I put that? Oh, doggone it. See, this I'm going through this problem here of switching over computers, and now I can't seem to find anything. Let me see, where's that other window? I closed that window. All right, let me see which, there was a radio interview, it was over 20 years ago. James Wickstrom, who was one of the people who they labeled as a rabid anti-Semite Jew hater. He was screaming about what we're talking about now decades ago. And he was interviewing a rabbi by the name of Abe Finklestein. And here's part of that interview. I got a couple of clips. I'm going to play this one, and I want you to hear the second one also. But you want to find out about who they are? Listen up.
I want to get into that about shekels and interest and everything, and this is very interesting that you bring it up because I noticed that there's a lot of investment by Jewish financiers.
Okay, I'm going to pause that. That's James Wickstrom talking to Abe Finklestein. Listen to the rest of this.
Into Asia, most parts of Asia. Now,
Asia.
I also know that Jewry is an Asiatic race. Is this correct?
Well, we're really all over the world, but yeah, I guess you could say we started in Asia.
Yes, that's right. Now, the Hebrews did not start there, and the Israelites didn't start there. You really have no bearing to be in the Hebrews or the Israelites. You are not the dispersed nations, plural, of the tribes of Jacob, who were surnamed Israel. Actually, the con game that you have brought on to this country and the world for many years, and it's been a good con. It's been a good con game. Is that you're allegedly God's chosen people?
We are God's chosen people. It's just that most Jews don't like to admit it, but our God is Lucifer.
Okay, did you hear that? This is Rabbi Abe Finklestein. Listen again, from his own lips.
Most Jews don't like to admit it, but our God is Lucifer.
Bam!
Your God is gold.
Yeah, your God is gold. Hey, they worship the dollar, the silver, the gold, and they haven't a soul. It's already been sold. So that's an interview over 20 years ago. So, and that in that one, Abe Finklestein admits that the Jews of today, and we're talking about the Talmudic Jews, they came from Eastern Europe. That's South Central Asia and also from North America. So the point is we do have imposters there. Everything is being topsy-turvy, upside down, it's all bass-ackwards, as they say. Now, I said a couple of minutes ago, we've noticed over the past 2 years, since this Israeli-Gaza issue, is that there has been an explosion of pro-Israel posts on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on X. Everywhere you look now, it's pro-Israel, pro-Israel. Boy, they're really going to it. And of course, they've been offering, social media posters $7,000 for every pro-Israel post you put out there. So anyway, the point is that you've got a ton of pro-Israel posts that are out there. And now at the same time, there are attacks against anybody who even suggests that Israel might have their hands in some skullduggery. And in regard to Charlie Kirk's assassination, a lot of people are looking at this. And of course, the mainstream narrative is just so ridiculous. Absolutely. It demands questions, but they don't want you asking questions. And if you dare to do so, you will be mercilessly, relentlessly. You'll be deplatformed. They're just going to go after you. Now, I would also say that I think that since the pressure is being put on anybody who challenges the official narrative into Charlie Kirk, and the pressure is being put on to anyone who challenges, the motivations of the state of Israel, I can't help but think that those three magic words, bribery, coercion, blackmail, and I think I'll add another one, murder or assassination. I can't help but think that since we've seen an explosion of pro-Israel posts combined with attacks on anyone who criticizes Israel, I can't help but think that the ratcheting up of hostilities towards any person who, like maybe Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson, anybody who draws attention to the possibility that this might not be the way they're telling you it is, as far as, Tyler Robinson being the sole lone shooter, if you even suggest, just barely suggest that the mainstream narrative is false or doesn't hold water, or maybe there's something else going on, boy, I'll tell you, I can't help but think, I watch how Kash Patel has totally flip-flopped, completely a 180. Same thing with Dan Bongino. Same thing with Pam Bondi. Same thing with Donald Trump. So if they've ratcheted up the pro-Israel stuff and they've ratcheted up the anti-Israel attacks, I can't help but think that they've ratcheted up the bribery, coercion, blackmail, and murder threats. And this is why I think everybody is basically cowering in the corner. Nobody wants to go up against Israel now. Well, no, I won't say that. There's plenty of people who are basically noticing and saying that, Israel is a rogue state. And these people are flaming nuts. You know they harbor pedophiles? I mean, if you're a convicted pedophile and you're facing, jail time or any type of repercussions because of your activity, just go to Israel. They'll take you in. They'll welcome you with open arms. Now, what kind of civilization is that? This is why I'm saying this is some crazy stuff. Anyway, a couple of other things that have happened. Of course, Candace Owens is taking an incredible amount of attacks, ridicule, et cetera, But I find it curious that with all the things that Candace Owens is bringing to the table, nobody's suing her. Why is that? They're saying, oh, well, Candace Owens said that Erika Kirk knew everything about what was going on. Well, maybe she did, because there's a lot of weird stuff that people are starting to realize about Erika Kirk. Now, if you're going to go after Candace Owens and you're going to go after Tucker Carlson, you're also going to have to go off after all the other people who have the audacity and the unmitigated gall to ask questions. You're going to have to go after Clayton Morris. And you're going to have to go after Sean from The People's Voice and Justice Knight, Ian Carroll, Ryan Mata, Eric Warsaw. There's so many out there. Whitney Webb? That's another one. So you're going to try to take them all out because they're asking questions? Well, I got to tell you, Ryan Mata, wait till you hear this. You think that Erika Kirk is squeaky clean? Oh, my goodness. The researchers, the independent researchers, are picking up stones and watching where the roaches scatter. Listen to this.
I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but Destiny Renendez just dropped the bombshell affidavit, translated to English, from the military base where Erika Kirk's Romanian angels were being investigated for child trafficking or alleged child sex trafficking. So check this out.
Listen to this.
Check out this affidavit. It's absolutely mind-blowing. So check this out. It says the criminals seek to establish the brothel that served U.S. military in the military base of UMO 18737 in M. Cognizant in the year of 2015 to 2012, which has been Trump Meadows for several months. And then it goes on to say, the building, according to the statement, their blank, which is censored out, their censor commander, in which several were sexually exploited young women forced to have sex with the U.S. military. Among them were some minors who were under guard, according to the statements, U.S. Army civilian employees at the Cognate base. So you literally have the affidavit right here that tells you that allegedly Erika Kirk's Romanian Angels organization was tied directly to a U.S. military base in Romania where they were literally sex trafficking children. They built a brothel where the women were kept under guard on a U.S. military base. And in Romania, the only one who can charge a U.S. person is who? Oh, the United States. So when you guys wonder why the hell we give billions of dollars to these third world countries, it's most likely because the United States military is involved with running child trafficking operations around this entire effing country.
Interesting information, isn't it? Yeah, and this is this Angels issue. I mean, this is before Erika met Charlie. And, this is becoming common knowledge. There are stand-up comedians that are actually doing bits about this. I mean, listen to this guy. This is, let me see. I can't remember what this guy's name is. I'll figure it out in a minute. But this is a stand-up comedian talking about what we just heard.
Erika Kirk knew Trump before she knew Charlie. She actually won Trump's Miss Arizona pageant. Her parents are both from a military intelligence family. Her dad did Raytheon arms deals with Israel, probably unrelated. And Erika Kirk was part of running an orphanage in Romania where children went missing. Enough children for Romania to permanently ban the orphanage and permanently ban Erika Kirk. Do you know how up you gotta be to get banned in Romania? Andrew Tate is the mayor there. You really gotta push some boundaries. Mind you, this is when Epstein was still active, so I'll let you connect the dots. By the way, I'm not suicidal. For the record, I am quite happy, okay? You heard it here. But the weirdest thing about Erika Kirk, she met Charlie Kirk, not on Christian Mingle. She went in to interview at his company, Turning Point USA. He said that he fell in love right away. Now, 4 years later, he's dead. And she has now inherited Turning Point USA. She's doing podcasts on it, too. Like, I'm so excited. Like, to my future wife, please wait 2 months after I die before doing a podcast. 3 months if it's my own. Come on. When you look at how fast she moved on, and then you look at how it started and how it ended, how it started was not romance. How it started was her going in for a job, and how it ended was her getting a promotion. So I'm just saying. It was probably Tyler.
Yeah, it was probably Tyler. Got to clean that up. So this is why people are really questioning this whole thing. And all of you folks out there, I tell you, it's so easy to see how they flip. I've noticed that Dinesh D'Souza, all of a sudden he's toned the line too. Okay? I mean, it's just amazing to see how people are flip-flopping under pressure. From whom? From what? Well, I don't know. We can only surmise. We can only assume. We can only guess. But I think it's rather obvious. Anyway, curious to know how you're feeling about this. The phone number here, of course, if you want to call in, is 215-867-8255. You want to join me? You're welcome to do so. 215-867-8255. Let me see. I don't even know if these buttons are going to work right now. Like I said, I had to rewire the entire system, and it's like I said, I'm an analog guy in a digital world, so some of this stuff may not work. Let me see if this will work.
Bribery.
Yeah, there it works.
Coercion. Blackmail.
There we go. Okay, I'm going to try something else out here. You've seen Benjamin Netanyahu, hold up that map of greater Israel. This is their plan for expanding the borders of Israel. They're going to go into, parts of Yemen and parts of Saudi Arabia, parts of Egypt. It's sort of like, he's holding up this map and he points over here. I want to go in here. I want to go here. And let's see, will this button work? No, it's not going to work. Oh, well, I thought I'd have a little bit of a comedic release here. I bet. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Okay, I want to go in there. I want to take Yemen. No.
No.
That's Bibi when people say no to him. Anyway, going to take a quick pause for the cause. Let me see if this one's going to work. Nope, that button's not going to work either. Maybe it'll kick in later. Huh, amazing. Like I said, this technology's got me going crazy here. I was ripping my hair out yesterday. Come on, it's on pause. It's paused itself. Oh, my gosh. Come on. Anyway, hang in with me, folks. All right. I was going to play the spot for Get More Tank. You regular listeners know that I promote Get More Tank. Well, that's because it works. It's a good product, and that's the only reason I will ever carry any product or sponsor on my show. I'm not in this just to make money. There's plenty of podcasters out there that they'll sell you, food storage, and they'll sell you, pillows, and they'll sell you gold and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, that's fine, but my motivation here is not money, okay? And it certainly isn't accolades and praise and ego stroke. If I wanted that, I would have jumped right back into the fray back in 2009. You know, a lot of you regular listeners out there, you know that, I was out there. I was on the front lines 20 years ago. And it just wasn't for me. I didn't like going into the Flying J as I'm driving across country. And all of a sudden people say, oh, you're the guy that made the documentary about 9/11. Yeah. I know, yeah. But that's not comfortable for me. I'm not out there for the fame and the fortune. I just have to tell the truth. That's all there is. And the truth of the matter is that this Get More Tank product is a good product. I wouldn't be hawking it if it wasn't. This stuff works in your vehicle, whatever make, model, or year that you've got. You're going to see that your vehicle is going to run better. It's going to run cleaner. It's going to have more power. And over a period of time, short period of time, a couple tanks of gas, you're going to see your mileage improve anywhere between 15 and 20%. Now, that's money in your pocket. This is a no-brainer, folks. Go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page and get more tank. Check it out. You'll be glad that you did. Okay, once again, the phone number here, it's wide open, and I'd appreciate it if you'd give me a call. I want to know what your thoughts are. 215-867-8255. Okay, now there's a lot of people out there in positions of power that want to shut up people like me and Candace and Tucker and anybody who's out there challenging the official narrative on anything. They say it's hate speech, or they say it's misinformation, disinformation. Well, let me see. Here's a comment from somebody, at I believe this was at the World Economic Forum. They were in regard to the CDC, the Center for Disease Control. They're really concerned that people might not listen to the CDC and might go counter to what the CDC is saying. And they're saying that that's all disinformation. Yeah, you got to listen to the FDA and the CDC and, wear your mask, stay 6 feet apart. You remember the drill. But anyway, here's what he said.
Greatest perpetrator of misinformation during the pandemic has been the United States government.
Okay, that wasn't
misinformation.
That wasn't the clip I was going to play, but that was the one I was going to follow up with. Here, this is the one I wanted to start with. This is from the UN. That's right. It's Antonio Gutteres, and he was talking about censorship. Here we go.
The spread of hatred and lies online is causing grave harm to our world.
To our world. What is your world? Your world is the CDC, the WHO, the FDA, and all of the globalist alphabet agencies that want to control everything. That's where the damage is being done.
Disinformation, and hate speech are fueling prejudice and violence, exacerbating divisions and conflicts, demonizing minorities, and compromising the integrity of elections. Threats to information integrity are not new, but they are proliferating and expanding with unprecedented speed on digital platforms and supercharged by AI technologies. Science, facts, human rights, public health, climate action are under attack. And when information integrity is targeted, so is democracy, which depends on a shared, fact-based perception of reality. False narratives, distortions, and lies breed cynicism, disbelief, and disengagement. They undermine social cohesion, putting the Sustainable Development Goals further out of reach. Opaque algorithms push people into information bubbles and reinforce prejudices, including racism, misogyny, and discrimination of all kinds. Women, refugees, migrants, and minorities are common targets. Lives are at stake when lies are spread about vaccines and other medical issues. The United Nations' own operations and missions are compromised as our staff deal with a tsunami of falsehoods and absurd conspiracy theories.
Okay, I'm going to pause it right there. Now, he was saying that a lot of this information that's being put out by these conspiracy theorists are hate speech. They're dangerous. It's misinformation, malinformation. Well, good luck, buddy. Because Del Bigtree is about to release the documentary that he's been working on. What was it called? An Inconvenient Study, I think it is. But they decided that they were going to take one of the most pro-vaccine scientists and say, look, We want you to prove that these vaccines work. He says, of course they work. And they say, okay, great, let's get the data. Will you do it? He says, you darn betcha. We got to defeat these conspiracy theorists. And so he got on it. And what do you know? His jaw dropped, because what he found out is the unvaccinated are the healthiest on the planet. And the vaccinated are the ones that have all of the problems, the asthma, the ADHD, all of these problems. So anyway, that's the real information. And the folks out there pushing the agenda that you got to get vaccinated because vaccines work. And if you're unvaccinated, you're a monster. Everything's backwards.
Demand action. First, to the big tech companies, take responsibility. Acknowledge the damage your products are inflicting on people and communities, and you have the power to mitigate harm to people and societies around the world.
Right, I'm going to pause it again. So they want social media companies, want Elon Musk and Zuckerberg and all the other people who are running social media to goose step along with their agenda. And don't you dare put out any information that is contrary to what we are demanding that you put out. That's basically what it's all about.
You have the power to change business models that profit from disinformation and hate. The climate crisis is a cause of particular concern. Coordinated disinformation campaigns are seeking to undermine climate action.
Okay, well, that's another issue altogether. But you know what? More and more people are starting to realize that this whole climate change, this whole global warming, this whole thing has been a hoax. And if their hoax collapses, so does their hopes for digital ID. You know, there was a guy here, I'll see if I can pull this clip up, about growing hemp. Now, people who grow hemp, I mean, you could replace plastic if you made their containers out of hemp. Hemp is a miracle plant that can be done. You can do all kinds of things with hemp. But the powers that be don't want you to grow hemp because it is one of the biggest absorbers of carbon dioxide, and they push out oxygen. Of course, we're saying, well, we got too much carbon, and that's why we have to have, the carbon tax and the shutdowns and all that. It's all because there's too much carbon. Well, then why don't they want to grow hemp? I think it's pretty obvious. But anyway, getting back to this issue, you just heard the UN spokesperson, Antonio Gutteres, and he's, of course, talking about how irresponsible social media is by allowing out all this disinformation. Well, guess what? Guess who the biggest producer of lies and disinformation is? Here it is.
Greatest perpetrator of misinformation during the pandemic has been the United States government. Misinformation that COVID was spread through surface transmission, that vaccinated immunity was far greater than natural immunity, that masks were effective. Now we have the definitive Cochrane review. What do you do with that review? Cochrane is the most authoritative evidence body in all of medicine and has been for decades. Do you just ignore it, not talk about it? That myocarditis was more common after the infection than the vaccine. Not true. It's 4 to 28 times more common after the vaccine. That young people benefit from a booster. Misinformation. Our two top experts on vaccines quit the FDA in protest over this particular issue, pushing boosters in young, healthy people. The data was never there. That's why the CDC never disclosed hospitalization rates among boosted Americans under age 50. We've seen something which is unforgivable, and that is the weaponization of medical research itself. Mm-hmm. The CDC putting out their own shoddy studies, like their own study on natural immunity, looking at one state for 2 months, when they had data for years on all 50 states. Why did they only report that one sliver of data? Why did they salami slice the giant database? Because it gave them the result they wanted.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. So I think that what's going on right now on a global scale is that people are waking up to all of this stuff. They're waking up to the bullcrap that we've been fed about Israel and its origins. They've been fed bullcrap about God's chosen people. They've been fed bullcrap about the vaccine issues and the pandemic. People have lost total faith in the mainstream media. It's about time. Yours truly been screaming about this for 30 years. And meanwhile, they're still trying to convince you that, that we should all be working together for a common goal. Remember, Ursula von der Leyen, she made the following statement. Remember this?
Europe is the values of the Talmud, the Jewish sense of personal responsibility, of justice, and of solidarity.
Yeah, Europe has the values of the Talmud. I don't think so. Anyway, we've got a caller on the line, so let's jump to the phones. Say, hello, caller. Thank you for calling. Who are you? And is this Cynthia? I think I recognize the number. It is.
This is Cynthia.
Hey, dear. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Listen, thank you for playing that clip with the rabbi admitting that they worship Lucifer.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to mention I was on Henry Mackhow last night, and Henry Mackhow is well known as a Jew from Eastern Europe who moved to Canada.
Okay.
And he appreciates Western civilization and is very concerned about efforts of the New World Order to bring it down. And he reviewed the history of Trump and his collusions with Chabad, and with Tammany Hall and the corruption, and his father's corruption that got him pulled in front of Congress for stealing federal funds to benefit a certain population of Jews in New York.
Yeah.
And then I started delving into what he had to say, when Henry Mackhow had to say about Chabad and these other organizations. And basically, they go all the way back to being worshipers of Baal.
That's right.
And I was wrong when I called up and I said, well, I'm finding information that the Hebrews and the Baal worshipers, because actually that may be accurate. The Hebrews, which may no longer be in existence, and the Baal worshipers have assumed the name Jews, and people assumed Jews meant that they were Hebrews, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So that's worth reviewing and putting out there to understand how big the con is.
Oh, it's huge.
And that's something else I found that I've been looking at, and I want you to know about it because it is very, very interesting. That I think one of the Mars wrote a book about the Fourth Reich, and how the rat lines took the gold out of Europe, and they set up corporations, and they were maybe running the world. And so all of a sudden, this interview of Michael Jacko interviewing a Sheila, oh my gosh, their name is escaping me. She's a noted Christian author and speaker. Holm, Sheila Holm, Holm. And she says information is out there that George H.W. Bush came here as a teenager and is actually a German citizen. And there's pictures of his parents socializing with noted Nazis, very notable Nazis, very infamous Nazis.
Okay.
And I thought that means that they pointed out that means H.W. Bush was not a legitimate president, and nothing he signed is legitimate. Nothing he did was legitimate. And they hinted that there were others that had come from Europe, and like J. Edgar Hoover was maybe never a citizen and was an assumed name. And then I was wondering, what about Donald Trump's grandfather, who came here and to America from Germany, but maybe also via the Netherlands, perhaps, and because there was a Dutch general, a Dutch admiral named Drump, Drumpf, and that man, his grandfather, is reported to have been a hotel owner, maybe using Rothschild money, and this was in Alaska, and it was run as a brothel. Well, if you were a brothel owner, it's kind of unlikely you'd be able to be a citizen, because they were pretty strict at some point, I guess, unless you greased the right palm. And if you had Rothschild money, they knew how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But did he ever become a citizen? And if so, then did Fred, Trump's father, was he a citizen? And is Trump another one brought in who's actually not a citizen, perhaps? Just because you've raised here doesn't mean you're a citizen. And that's what they're going to the Supreme Court to prove, that being born in the country, if your parents are actually under the jurisdiction by being citizens of another country, never having arranged for a citizenship here, you actually are not a citizen. That birthright citizen is not constitutional, and I understand that's been taken to the U.S. Supreme Court by maybe 29 state attorney generals.
Yeah, it's a hot topic right now. Yeah, birthright citizenship.
So I wanted to drop those bombs in there and apologize. Maybe bringing misinformation in that the Hebrews were the Jews and the worshippers of Baal were masquerading as Jews, when actually the worshippers of Baal appear to be the ones who grabbed the title Jews, and people assume they meant Hebrews.
Well, yeah. Well, this is what a lot of people are screaming about the Talmud. As a matter of fact, I have a clip here that's rather telling.
Okay, let me go, and let's hear further what you have to bring.
Okay, yeah, you like the audio receipts, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. Well, I appreciate your support, and like I said, we're working on transforming this broadcast into a podcast. So, like I said, once we get everything all fired up and get all the platforms, and I got to learn all these programs and how to, click save, drop downs, I got a lot to learn, a big learning curve here. But once we get that straightened out, it will be on video, and we'll be on Rumble and BitChute and YouTube and Facebook and maybe a couple other platforms. But they all cost money. So if anybody wants to GoFundMe, go to our website and help us out. So, all right, Cynthia, thank you so much. And I will get to that clip right away.
Okay.
All right. Take care. Bye. Okay. Bye. Yeah. I so much appreciate the participation of our listeners here. But there's the, let me see, where is it here? Yeah, I played Ursula von der Leer talking about the values of the Talmud. But guess what? Yeah, this Talmudic mindset is not a good thing. Now, this clip starts off with a little girl, and she's talking about what her book tells her. If you're not one of them, then you are subhuman. You're not even a human being. This is what they're teaching the kids. Listen up.
Excuse me, I'm a Jew, and I just like to say that, in our Bible it says that you're like animals.
Yeah.
At this point, if you're speaking about the liberation of Palestine and not discussing banning the Talmud, I believe you're misguided. Just speaking about liberating Palestine over and over again is like pointing out blood splatter on the floor, the symptom. When the cause, the axe wound lodged into someone's head, is called the Talmud. So the video I just showed you is real. The Talmud says repeatedly that everybody who is not Jewish is animals that need to be destroyed. Okay, so that's why the genocide in Palestine is happening. That's why genocides across the earth are happening. And if you just keep saying free Palestine, you will say that until the end of time, unless you address the root cause, which is the Talmud. That's what we need to be focusing our attention on at the moment. Aside from myself, there are 2 other accounts out here on Instagram that have the courage to talk about the Talmud and share information about what's written in there. Everybody else is afraid. They don't want to seem not woke, scared of the ADL. Well, take it from somebody who has Jewish ancestry. I give you my full permission to rip apart the Talmud. You're not going to change some Christian in America's mind about the politics in Palestine because they have Islamophobia in their brain. You show them this in the Talmud.
גדול הבעל הקטנה, בוא נגיד ככה, ולא כלום. כי מה זה קטנה לצורך העניין הזה? פחות מבת 3. הבתולים שלה חוזרים מאליהם.
Oh, you better believe they're going to change their mind. You show them this part too.
I was thinking about a certain thing that's written in the Talmud, in the Gemara, and it says that Jesus, Yeshu, is in hell, boiling in a pit of his own excrement.
Yeah, that'll do something. So if you really want to fix the problem in Palestine and across the earth, I suggest, as a strategist, a master strategist, that we all turn our attention to exposing the Talmud, which is the cause of this problem, a book that has been banned multiple times over the centuries because it is a satanic book.
Yes, it is. It is a satanic book. And that's why I have to really scratch my head, and I'll play this clip again. Ursula von der Leyen, who's president of the EU, again.
Europe is the values of the Talmud.
Europe has the values of the Talmud. Why is she saying that? Overwhelmingly, European nations, countries, have been Christian. Overwhelmingly. There's not a lot of Muslim countries over there. Muslim countries are over in the Middle East. Okay? I mean, Christians have been historically all over Europe. So basically, it is they who are putting out the misinformation. It is they who are lying through their teeth. It is they who are constantly shoving this propaganda down the gullet of a willing and unknowing populace, not just here in this country, but all over the world. But, people are figuring this out. And, unfortunately, yes, as they say, no good deeds go unpunished. So, yes, if you're not catching flack, you're not over the target. And I can't help but think of poor Candace Owens, what she's going through right now, and others. Yeah, they're going after Tucker Carlson. And again, I'll say it. If they're lying, why aren't they being sued? Why is it that Erika Kirk isn't taking all those millions and millions and millions of dollars that she has access to and suing the snake snot out of Candace Owens? It's because they can't. It's because Candace and all the others are asking legitimate questions and coming to legitimate conclusions. They may not be absolutely perfect, but I mean, let's face it, anybody with functioning gray matter strategically placed between the ears can figure out that we're being lied to on a grand scale about just about everything. And this is why people all over the country have lost faith in their institutions. They've lost faith in the Department of Justice. They've lost faith in the FBI and the CIA. They've lost faith in the FDA and the CDC and all of the other, and the alphabet networks. They've lost faith in all of that, which is why they're going to social media now, and why X is now the number one source of news on the planet. And even X is being inundated by people who are posting all this pro-Israel stuff, and they're going after, all the stuff that is being very negative towards anybody who has the audacity and the unmitigated gall to ask questions. How dare you do that? You don't go up against the authorities. That is verboten. How dare you try to compare, that old statement, we are the master race. Oh, gosh, that sounds like Nazis. Yeah, evil. We are the master race. Well, how different is that from we are God's chosen people? How is that any different? The answer is it's not. There's so much duplicity and contradictions out there. Anyway, yeah, getting back to this thing about the CDC, I was trying to remember the name of that the documentary. I think it's called An Inconvenient Study. I got a brief clip here. Del Bigtree was talking with Jeffrey Jackson, and that's Jaxen. And this is coming out, folks. I think that once this is released, all hell's going to break loose. I think the CDC and Big Pharma, they're done. They are absolutely done. I mean, they have to get rid of this immunity that they have from lawsuits from vaccine injuries. And if that ever happens, I'll tell you, all you'll see from the CEOs and the important guys at Big Pharma, and I don't care if you're talking about GlaxoSmithKline or Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, all you'll see of them is butts and feet. because they will be running for the hills. Listen to this.
People need to burn in hell.
Like, something just happened legally, rare accomplishment in the NVICP, that's the National Vaccine Injury Compensation Program. Family proves vaccine caused infant death. You can't sue vaccine manufacturers for injuries or death. So you have to go through this special court, and you have to go against HHS, you have to go against Department of Justice attorneys to present a case to why this vaccine injured you. So a very high bar, but this has just been accomplished by two parents with great expert witnesses. So quick background here, you have an 11-week-old baby. Around 11 o'clock a.m., that baby received pediatrics vaccine, which is a TP vaccine, Hep B, polio vaccine, all packaged in one. We received the Haemophilus influenza vaccine. They received PCV vaccine. This is a pneumococcal vaccine, and the rotavirus vaccine. All of those at once. God. By about 5:45, the father comes in. The baby was blue, struggling to breathe. Rushes to the hospital. They try to resuscitate the baby. The baby dies, 11 weeks old. Wow. So here is the court case. One of the expert witnesses is Dr. Schumann. In Dr. Schumann's opinion, the DTaP and or the Prevnar 13 vaccinations received caused encephalopathy and cerebral edema and caused brainstem herniation affecting respiration and causing cardiopulmonary failure, resulting in death hours after the vaccination. The DOJ attorneys actually argued in this case, and they said because it has to have this acute encephalopathy for 24 hours, the DOJ attorneys said, didn't show it for 24 hours. So you technically can't use acute encephalopathy because
didn't
the baby
show it
died
because they died, right?
Exactly.
Oh my God. These people need to burn in hell.
That's what you go against. And thank God this special masters ruled rarely on this case for the parents. I believe it's $300,000 they received with attorney's fees and whatever the DOJ attorneys were paid. This becomes a wash. But what we're seeing here is this movement now away. It's not SIDS. It's not sudden infant death syndrome. This is vaccine-induced infant death.
Bam! Kaboom! Oh, gosh, I can't wait till that documentary comes out. An Inconvenient Study, I think it's called it. I had it up here. Anyway, let's see. What time is it? We got a couple minutes left here. No time to take phone calls. Oh, there is one more thing that I did want to get to. I don't know if I have enough time. Let's see. Yeah, we were talking. Cynthia called in a little while ago, and yes, there is a plan by these satanic Luciferian monsters. They want to take over the world. That is their goal. They want to destroy the entire West, all of Europe, all of the Americas, and they want to do so by mongrelizing. Yeah, they want to mix the races, and so everybody forgets their heritage. Anyway, here's the clip.
It's very clear that the Jews want to exterminate the European race. Richard Coudenhove Kalergi, who is the father of the European Union and who was funded by the Jewish bankers Rothschild and Warburg. Now, this man wrote a book called Praktischer Idealismus in 1925, in which he stated that the Jews are a master race and that the Jews can only assume the throne of rule over the world by weakening the European race, and that the means to weakening the European race would be to dissolve all the European nations, destroy all their cultural heritage and their national traditions, and replace that with the European Union, and then to invite in Africans, Middle Easterners, and Asians to dilute the blood of Europeans through miscegenation to the point where they became a degenerate mixed race. And then at that point, these people would no longer have any sense of nationhood, and the ancient Jewish messianic prophecies of world rule out of Jerusalem, with Jews maintaining their nationhood and their national status, it would fulfill the Jewish messianic prophecies that the Jews could then rule the world. And this was completely in line with what Nikolai had written in 1917 and has manifested itself recently with the invasion of...
Oh, boy. All right, that's called the Calgary Plan. So you can do a little research. K-A-L-E-R-G-I, Calgary Plan. Yeah, this is the world we're living in, folks. Let's just do the best we can of it. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for today's Thursday installment of the WTF Reports. And as mentioned, I'm having some technical things here. I'm rewiring and redoing my little workstation here, so I may be doing a replay again tomorrow. That said, we're flat out of time, so God bless you all. Thank you so much for being a listener. Stay safe, stay free, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow. If not, I'll be back on Monday. God bless you all.
Immigrants